So anyway, I don't know if I'd be tepidly sad if the Cardinals would sign Mikolas to a 1-year deal for $8 million. I don't think that I could develop raging anger at this point. I might be apathetic about it, and I don't think I'd be oddly excited. Because I don't think that you can win with Miles Mikolas, but I don't think the Cardinals can win next year anyway. So I think that I would go between apathy and sadness. Sadness because they had nobody better to give their money to than Miles Mikolas. And by the way, he's not horrible. If Miles Mikolas was the number 5 starter for the Dodgers and was giving them innings, and he could be up and down like this, but if he took the ball every 5th day, because none of their guys do, except for Yamamoto, they kind of like to have that. Some good teams would like to have that, but for a bad team where he's anything but your number 5 starter, then you got problems.
This could be Benson. It would make me feel Keim isn't any different than Mo. Pete Baker says sadness. There is one freak out there in our listenership because there is at least one vote right now that is odd excitement. Okay. Raging anger is leading the category, though. Aggressive apathy is actually outpacing sadness right now, which honestly is really impressive for the apathetic people. Really putting in some emotion there for the first time.
This could be Ben. Let someone else deal with his woes. Yeah, I think that's it. I think the Cardinals. Here's my thing. And they brought in all of these people to handle their minor league system. Well, one of the things that all these minor league guys are doing is they're seeing the opposition too. And baseball has this thing called 6-year minor league free agency. If you're a minor leaguer and you haven't been promoted to the majors yet, then you can be signed as a free agent, as a minor league free agent. I think the Cardinals should mine that field of players. The 6-year minor league free agents, I'd rather roll the dice on a 28-year-old guy who's never had a chance in the major leagues. And maybe Blake Lively can make him a better pitcher than he's already been. That would be the way I would want to go, rather than, and maybe sign 3 or 4 of those guys rather for $1 million each, maybe, rather than spending $6 or $8 million on Mikolas. And like I say, I think Mikolas in a different setting could be better. I just don't think that he is where the Cardinals need a guy right now. Cardinals need young and cheap, and he's neither.
Randy, please, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it feels like when you say the coach's name wrong, like you don't inspire a lot of confidence that he can do his job.
Oh, I think that Robert Blake has done a wonderful job.
No, see, that's also not. Wait a second. Okay, I think you went with the murderer's name that time, if I remember correctly, right?
Alleged. I think he might have gotten off.
Bad.
Okay, so. Anyway,
details of the murder.
Yeah. So I think Dusty Springfield is really good. I think.
No, he did it again.
So when you look at the way this bullpen has performed, here's the thing: overarching. Okay, let's give Dusty Blake some credit here. Somebody has to be responsible for all of these pitchers staying healthy all year. I think Dusty is a big part of that. Somebody also has to be responsible for the quality of the bullpen, especially the young guys that have taken the place of the old guys that got traded. Not old guys, but Matz, Helsley, Mayton, all older, right? Relative to me, they're young, but to the guys that replaced them, they're older. So the young relievers are doing a good job.
Redcon 1. Other option to sign Mikolas: tactical infiltration of the DeWitt's mansion and hold him hostage till Bloom negotiated his safe release.
Okay, here's the thing though: which mansion?
Oh, you put him in Cincinnati; it's hard to get to.
Cincinnati, Jupiter, London, LA. I think they might have another. I'm not sure. St. Louis.
They got one in London too?
Yeah.
Do they really? God bless him.
Yeah. So I don't know which mansion you go to. That's one of the Kroenke problems that I've thought about. I know I've had these sick thoughts over the past, but if you're going to infiltrate one of his mansions, which one?
Keith Adams says, hell no to the no.
Graham, there are plenty of other options for cheap mid-number 5 free agents that have a lot better attitude than Mikolas. Miles is a likable sort in that room. I know that you wouldn't.
He's a comedian.
He is kind of a comedian.
He wears goofy hats.
He does wear goofy hats. That's why he doesn't like him that much.
Oh, come on.
Well, I am all over
I like a goofy hat every once in a while. Is Miles getting the secret Kwame contract?
Yeah.
Maybe be Kawhi.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Kwame Brown, Kawhi Leonard. There you
go.
So anyway, make the Cardinals great again. That's the cap that we need.
Block hog, kick the can down the road until the lockout's over. Anything else does not make good business sense.
How about Aaron G? Maybe Miles just needs to prepare better, watch more film. Could be that's the case.
Well, he's out on the road. That's the issue. He's out bopping around. He's got to go take down a homeless encampment. He can't be watching. He can't be watching film that day.
That's true. If you didn't hear, Brant Brown was on with Bernie and Chris Ranji and Aki yesterday on the KMOX show, The Gas House Gang, and Brant Brown, the Cardinals hitting coach, essentially said, "Do we have this?"
Yes, we do. Not the clip, but we have the
here's
quote.
Here's the quote. Here. I mean, just on his daily structure level, at some point in time, he's going to have to devote a kind of more on focus on preparation. We've had long conversations with this. It's not only looking at film on the starter, but also being able to come in on the first day of a series. Like, just take a look at all the bullpen guys, like all the information and videos available, just so we're not, getting snuck up on when a reliever comes in. That's kind of an indictment of Jordan Walker's work ethic, isn't it?
It is. And tell me if I'm wrong, because when I read that, one of the first things I did was I was like, what? Because he's saying there that clearly he needs to prepare for the whole bullpen the way that he prepares for starters and the relievers he expects to face. Because I'm taking that as he does prepare for starters and the bullpen people he expects to face, but almost every series there's bullpen people he did not adequately prepare for, and that leads him down a bad path. That's what I heard from his explanation. Is that kind of what you heard?
Yes, it is.
So that's why the one reaction I had yesterday was the tweet I sent out that pointed out that MLB average across the entire league, batters are worse versus relievers than starters by 17 points in the OPS. Jordan Walker is 120 points better in OPS against relievers than starters. And so, and again, they're talking about breaking down these at-bats by video. So I'm not saying Brant Brown is wrong.
Brant Brown, WTF.
But I am just wondering why, if that's the big issue, why the manifesting in the numbers is so stark in the other way.
Yeah. Now, it could be just a level of dissatisfaction with the preparation.
Yes.
I know Mark McGwire, who I think is the best hitting coach that I've been around, maybe not the best ever, I don't know, but the best I've been around, because everything was about up here. And he always said that it was important, and he told his hitters, do all of that mental homework at home. Prepare for the starter, prepare for the bullpen. They have access to all of the film that Brant Brown is talking about, all the video that he's talking about, all of the repertoire of all of those guys. And Mark McGwire said, when you drive through that gate at the ballpark, you should have all of your mental preparation done. That should have happened before you get to the ballpark. And then once you drive through that gate, the rest is physical. That's when you're working on your swing plane. That's when you're working on your stance. That's when you're working on anything physical in terms of hitting. I think that's a great approach to take. I don't know if Jordan Walker does that, it seems like the way things go with him, they talked earlier about how he was developing buy-in with their plan, and maybe he's just not 100% bought in. But he also did tell Derek Gould that he loves Brant Brown, that he really likes the approach that Brant Brown has given him.
And I think there were some other very interesting comments we have in Brant Brown, because a lot of what we've talked about with Walker has been them kind of the push and pull of those kind of things. And later on in the interview, he did acknowledge that. I think the one thing with Walker is we've kind of played a massive game of tennis, going back and forth with what he feels he needs to do versus what he really needs to do. I think that is the most, maybe not the first time, but that is the most blatant observation from a Cardinals person, that they have not given him the clearest pathway over the last 3 years.
Right.
And he says, and until now, we can get a full commitment out of him just to say, all right, this is where I'm at. If I'm looking at the numbers, like, it's not the best. But for me, there's a really easy way out. It just, he might have to do a little more, be a little bit more uncomfortable to be able to achieve what we wanted to achieve. So I think there's definitely some criticism coming from him, but the fact that he acknowledges the other side of the coin and potentially some blame on the Cardinals side, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first real acknowledgement from that point. That is an important factor in every discussion we've had over the last 3 years, but especially now as we're having this one.
And I think that first quote there is referencing the buyout, the massive game of tennis, going back and forth with what he feels like he needs to do versus what he really needs to do. So they're volleying back and forth because Walker is essentially saying, well, this is what got me here. I don't need to change. And the Cardinals are saying, no, that what got you here isn't going to work at the major league level. This is what you need to do. So that to me is what they're talking about when they say he hasn't really completely bought in.